All right, welcome to Talking in Stations. It's Matterall. It's February 9th, and we'll talk a little bit about EVE Online here in just a second. I want to say that today is an important day because it is patch day, and we want to see what's in these patch notes. Later on, we'll talk a little bit about what happened yesterday in Delve. Looks like lots of Fortizars went down, and let's see what else we can find today. All right, let's get started. All right, looks like the rain is here, and this is a tactical supremacy type patch. Let's go ahead and read it, and then we'll tell you about it, and we'll tell you what we think is in it. It hasn't been commented on officially by CCP, but this is the new Quadrant. So let's read this. Reigning Capsuleers. Achieve tactical supremacy and victory in New Eden with EVE Online's new Quadrant Reign, the first in 2021. Launching a new year of quadrants after 2020's successful introduction of themed content for EVE, Reign brings with it exciting new updates to fleets and travel, continuous balance and meta changes, plus returning events such as the Guardians Gala and the Hunt. Fleet options in EVE will improve during Reign Quadrant thanks to Fleet Discovery Update. Many more upcoming changes will soon see the light as the quadrant progresses, as has been the case for all of EVE's quadrants so far. One upcoming change will give Capsuleers more control over fleet formations and presence on the battlefield. For the curious, the Quadrant trailer is a solid starting point for theory crafters. Should we have a look at this trailer? Let's see. I'm going to keep the volume off, unfortunately, to avoid copyright problems. Actually, I'm going to just hold on a second. Let's do that.
The greatest commanders can secure victory before any shots are fired. They spread their forces wisely, under the cover of stealth. And strike with intent, with agility, with majesty. They'll turn the tide of battle, wielding a single advantage. Let your plans be dark and impenetrable as night, and when you move, fall like a thunderbolt.
All right, the first thing hey, is that Dirk McGurk? What's up, man?
No, man, it's Fawn Sweat.
So Dirk. All right, the first thing that comes to mind off that trailer, that sound is amazing. The sound design is just top notch. But when I first saw it, my reaction was, that's not even how fleets fly. So clue number one is the way fleets fly in warp is going to change. That means the way they land is going to change. It looks like you're going to have a variety of different fleet formations. This is something that Hilmar talked about. Dirk, as long as you're here, you want to participate? Do you remember him talking about that stuff?
I do not remember him talking about that stuff, but I've also never looked at a trailer and thought that's how fleets fly. So,
yeah, it's true. A little bit unrealistic, but I thought, like, well, if the only thing in here is fleets flying through warp, they should at least get that right. So I'm guessing, and this is a guess, that fleet formations are finally here with EVE Online. This is something that was talked about as far back as maybe around 2011. And if I remember correctly, it was Soundwave. He's no longer with the company, but CCP Soundwave was like the main art director or game designer at the time said there was just no reason to put a lot of effort into fleet formations since they didn't really make a difference in fleet combat, except maybe a little bit of range changes. So he just thought, at the time, he said there's really just no way that's going to happen.
Well, hold on.
Well, yeah.
Are fleet formations going to matter? Like, and granted, we have been talking about, how to make shit. What was that fucking video game? The one that really was probably kind of, damn it, I'm not gonna remember it now. Unless I pull up Steam and
another space game. Is it a space game or is it a?
Yeah.
Oh, Elite Dangerous maybe, or
no, my god, dude.
Okay.
Never mind. Just keep talking.
Star Citizen. All right.
No, before that.
Oh no, I don't know. Anyway, fleet formations do matter. I think one of the coolest things about Fleet Warp was that
Homeworld. Thank you, Tiberius. Homeworld. I'm like, it goes back a ways. It's like, you're like so far before that, but like, yeah, Homeworld. Like Homeworld were the different formations you were in. One was defensive, one was offensive. Like, yeah, is that supposed to be a thing now? Or is it just like, or is it just you can like, put your ships in like, formations?
It's beyond me. Yeah, my guess would have been Stellaris. I don't know. I didn't play Homeworld. A lot of people that did play Homeworld came to EVE Online, so that might be. Yeah.
You didn't play Homeworld?
I didn't play Homeworld.
Not even Homeworld Remastered?
I never played anything called Homeworld at all. But a lot of people that came to EVE Online at the very beginning that did the beta were from Homeworld. So there's a whole group of them. And
yeah, that was a thing. That was a thing going back years ago that we used to talk about, like for EVE Online, being like, well, why not that? Why not that kind of idea where you can put formations together, and they didn't have to be Homeworld formations or anything like that, but where it gave some sort of kind of like bonus to the formation that you're in, and not kind of some of the stuff I heard out there today, where people are like, oh, look, the wrecking ball formation. It's like, okay, no, yeah. It's like, we don't mean that. That was just a ball of, EVE Online chips.
Well, no, it was a ball, right? Because everything is a ball in EVE Online. If you warp together, you form into a ball. It's just the way the programming works. Okay, so a long time ago, I remember a question came out of the audience after a demonstration. And they basically said, yeah, no fleet formations and no purpose for it. And so you kind of thought like that was just a low priority. So to see this is kind of curious, except it was on our show on Talking in Stations. One of the times that we interviewed, I think it was the very first time we interviewed Hilmar, not the Blackout interview, but a few months before the Blackout interview, when he had come back to EVE Online, he was talking about how they were wanting to, the technology wasn't there, but they wanted to have a certain technology that would allow them to make directional distance meaningful as well as occlusion. And so you could basically essentially hide behind things. So if you were on one side of a giant structure, you couldn't shoot through the structure to be hit, that sort of thing. And then if you had that kind of compute ability, let's call it, you could actually start to make it important what direction you were facing when you're firing weapons and these sorts of different aspects of the game that would increase the tactical gamemanship of the game. So he brought that up, and one of the things was not fleet warp, but basically formations. And he was saying until you get that technology, formations doesn't really make a difference. But I think it's an aesthetic difference. If you've ever flown in a fleet, in a big fleet, and you warp together, there is something of an adrenaline hit when you see that many ships forming a fleet in warp, and you're about to land, and it's on, and you're about to fight, and that is a real rush for players. So to see a better formation than just a ball, I think that's going to be an aesthetic win. So we'll see what happens there. But there may be some utility to it. Like I said, right off the bat, there may be some utility to that. We don't know what the formations are, if they're even formations. We assume they are. But they are going to impact range control and that sort of stuff. So we'll see. I think it might just be aesthetic, though. I don't know. Let's read the second part of this. The rain
could do like tank formations and it's like echelon left, echelon right.
Yeah,
but probably not, because you know what, that doesn't work for like
in space.
14,000 ships at one time.
Yeah, people need to. I think I think I think Eve is going to be different, and maybe that will kick in and become more important after this war. If there's a meltdown of scale, maybe scale doesn't. Maybe just piling people onto a fight just isn't the right way to go anymore. If that's possible, I don't know if it is. Then maybe this other stuff that's aesthetically pleasing and interesting can emerge. And if it does, then you have a lot more terrain on a battlefield. You have a lot more decisions to make, more strategies, and that would just be cool, really.
And actually, to be quite honest, it's like formations just sounds like it's gonna like take up more bandwidth, or like more CCP brain than is really worth it, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't want a battle being gauged out because like you flew in there with a certain formation with a certain type of ship class.
Yeah.
And then boom, you just blew up the solar system.
Cuda Timberline, is that Cuda? Is that TIS Cuda? If it is, jump in here and I'll talk to you if you want. You don't have to. But he says, Cuda Timberline says, I hope they just allow wings to warp in at range. Now, to warp at range. And that would be interesting if they start breaking up wings. And all that matters, right? Right now, it doesn't really matter. You're a fleet of 255. And you all do things together and you all pretty much do the same thing. So it'd be great if you start getting groups that do different things on the same grid that actually are in their own wing, performing their own way. You do get that with logistics these days, and you also get it with tacklers and a few variations, but there's really only about 2 or 3 exceptions to everybody else who's just DPS and following the leader and anchoring at a certain distance and making sure their prop mod is turned on and off at the right times and keeping up. But yeah, if you can have wings that have tactical objectives inside of a larger tactical battle, we're starting to look at Eve becoming a much bigger enterprise as far as combat goes. I think that would be thrilling.
And that would also get back to like, things that meant something like wing commanders and squad commanders and things like that, right? Especially if you took it down to that kind of level where it's like, okay, fine, yeah, you're part of this wing. Like, what's your function or malfunction?
Cool if you were like, follow your sergeant, there's a captain of the company, but there's also
that was always kind of what I thought it was eventually going to become, but then it just became, now look, dude, we got like 12 FCs in this game, relax.
Yeah. Oh, it is Cuda. Hey Cuda, good to see you. Right, well, I mean, this is exciting. You saw the trailer. Let's read the second part of this and then we'll go back to the beginning and talk about that fleet finder. The Rain Quadrant also kicks with substantial improvements to jump tunnel animations, providing an immersive sci-fi experience with the regions you are traveling between now visually reflected in the tunnel itself. In addition, there are updates to how your home station is represented on the map, how it's managed, with the price for changing its location removed, plus quality of life improvements throughout the quadrant, which some of you can check out on EVE Online forums. Last paragraph here. The notorious Guardians Gala event will return to to New Eden this week. You are once again invited to disrupt the annual Serpentis Pirates and Angel Cartel celebrations. Guardians Gala will include daily rewards for players logging in. More info on that is coming very soon. In addition to that, Abyssal Proving Grounds will continue into 2021 as well. Well, that last paragraph is stuff that we would expect. Guardians Gala and Proving Grounds. And then also, that's the event. That's kind of like the, what do you call it, Valentine's Day event. Again, I keep bringing this up, and I don't know why, Dirk, but it reminds me of Open Comms, the Valentine's Day event, because like Rain, I think, was talking about the skins, and you guys were saying how the skins looked pretty good, and I just kind of go back to that moment. That was like 3 years ago.
That seems like 3 years ago to me.
Ages ago.
Are you talking about Guardians Gala?
Yeah.
The Gila Gala, as it became known after a while.
I didn't actually participate. That is a weird thing. I didn't participate, but so I don't know what the favored ship was. But I just do remember something about that era of Eve, and feeling like a thawing out of my bitter vetness, because I resisted all these ornamental things, and then I just thought, oh yeah, those are pretty nice skins, and they did look cool. They were the Eros Blossom. I like the name too. I thought that name was pretty awesome. Okay, so there's some other stuff here. The home map stuff is something that we should talk about. It's already in the game. I don't have the client up yet, and last time I did that, I crashed the stream, so I'm not going to bring it up right now. But the interesting part of this is you get to see your home station on the map, so you know exactly where home is. That works for players that want context on where they are and where their home base is, how far they are from home when they travel, those kinds of things. That's good. But there's some interesting stuff that is really, really important. One of those quality of life changes is being able to redeem your gifts, your login gifts, right to your home station, which means you don't have to like wait until you get home to like redeem all that stuff so that your inventory is all in one place.
What do you mean you have to wait until you get home? Isn't your home station your home?
No, people go on deployment, and they don't want to collect all. Or people will go do a mission like 6 or 7 jumps away, or
isn't that why you have vaults that sit in your home station and collect your shit for you until you get back?
It could, but I kind of feel like that's a real nice little quality of, if you have a home base, just redeem everything to that home base. Don't redeem it to whatever station you're in, because you might actually undock and forget you left it there, and then you'll have to look back and say like, where'd that thing go? It's either expiring or it's far away, and it's just a mess, right? So redeem it to home, and it shows you where home is, are nice little changes. All right, and the jump tunnel changes, I think they announced those a while ago. They demonstrated them a while ago. I think they actually made it into the game a while ago, but then they were pulled, probably to get fixed. And so now they're back. And at first I was put off by it because you jump into the tunnel, right? And you go into a first person perspective, and then you warp right through the tunnel like you're being slingshotted. And as you're doing that, your little ship appears, and then it appears in the system that you were going for. My problem with that is it looks a little arcadey to me. Like if I was just looking at the jump tunnel, I was immersed. But maybe, the jump, maybe it works. I don't know. But it definitely gives new players a sense of what's happening. So as they're jumping through this tunnel, they can see their ship and understand the relationship of what's happening. So they get an idea of like, oh, I'm traveling through this. And they stay in that third person perspective. So when they land, everything makes sense. And so it might be a little bit for them. I agree. It looks a little cartoonish, Kitty. So I wasn't, I appreciate the work that's done on that. I didn't feel like that increased my immersion. If anything, it actually took away from my immersion. What I kind of missed too was the early Dead Space bridges. You remember, or gates actually. I don't know if you ever jumped to them, but they used to grab you with these wires, and then they would all grab your ship and just slingshot you into the Dead Space pocket. And I always liked the way that looked, but I don't think that happens anymore. Rain is coming. This is the next quarter. It looks like formations and some quality of life changes. And again, the thing I wanted to talk about when we circled back to the beginning was the Fleet Finder. We'll go to the Fleet Discovery page here. And this essentially is something they announced a while ago. Here it is, Fleet Discovery. And this is the key here. It's basically in your agency now. So you can find fleets and we're talking about public fleets that you could join, but also
What do you think?
other fleets right here in your agency.
Okay.
What's up?
Okay. Given the history of EVE Online, which you don't change just by changing some shit in the UI, right? How do you think this is going to work out?
Well, they didn't take it away in any place, so veterans won't say, "Hey, you messed up what I used to know." That's a plus.
No. Given the idea of joining things and like, hey, oh yeah, bro, we're so new player friendly.
Oh, that. Well, there is a
Like,
checkbox right there in the middle.
Because when they list the things that you can like find in that, and I'm really hoping that right now no new players are out there kind of like listening and whatnot, but like the whole idea of like you can just go through there and check and be like, oh, I'd like to be part of this and this other thing over here. Oh shit, you're new player friendly too? Oh my god, thank you so much. And then you jump in and then you get murdered. It's like, is there a penalty for murdering somebody if you create a fleet that said we're new player friendly and then you murder a new player? Bro, you got an orca? Oh my god, yeah. Dude, we're so freaking orca friendly. You got friends with orcas?
Orca friendly.
Tell them to bring their orcas too. Blah, blah, blah. These are really difficult things for them to put together that some group in the game, I'm not naming groups, but like some group in the game won't try to find a way to exploit while everyone else is using it in the way that it is meant for, because we want players to like, kind of graduate up through kind of the ranks and like, find their way into whatever way they want to go and things like that. Like there's always going to be that group or those groups who just completely freaking use this stuff the wrong way or the way that was not intended. But guess what? EVE's a sandbox, yada yada yada.
Yeah, EVE's a sandbox, but I don't know if that's excusable. You can't. I mean, there's a business interest here to keep players not safe necessarily, but to keep them viable. And if you're going to have them killed without understanding how they got killed and how they can prevent it, and when the mechanics are actually part of the trickery, I think that's a real problem. It's almost like a violation of the universe. You expect that you go into a game, in order to participate, you have to have a UI that communicates clearly what your options are so you can make decisions. If you click something and you expect a result and you get the opposite result, the universe has lied to you. And nobody wants to play a game where it's a fun house. You don't know if that works or doesn't work. Okay. But the thing about this is it's going to be in the agency, which is a very good place to surface information. We know that CCP wants a lot of experiences available to you surfaced on the agency. That's supposed to be where you go to find things to do, whether it's agent missions, encounters, or whatever else. But now they have a new tab, not only Fleet Up, which is this new tab, but right here, tutorial. That's new, and that has video tutorials, little segments. Right now, the only thing there is to teach you how to scan, or at least on the test center. I don't know what's actually on Tranquility. Teach you how to scan, which is one of the more difficult ones. So to be able to see a video of the process really broken down into like 12 different, key moments in the process is repeatable at a person's convenience, and it's in a good context because you're right there able to do it and practice it while the video is right there in front of you. And the videos are only a few seconds long each. So it's a really, really interesting way of getting really good information to a player so they can learn how to do a thing. And I think scanning using the directional scanner is critical to a player's really mobility in dangerous situations. So that's a good one to learn on, I think. Or it's a good one to put in there at first. All right, we got to wrap it up. I'm going to get out. I expected to be here all of like 10 or 15 minutes just to do stuff, but we will see you possibly tomorrow. I wanted to take the week off, but there's just a lot going on. And tomorrow, it's inappropriate today, but tomorrow I want to celebrate Belzar and his father who passed away recently. So we'll do that tomorrow. I was going to do it today, but it's just not the right day for it.
Can't we celebrate it right now? Because we were talking about that earlier.
No, well, I'll show fireworks, but I want to like take a little more. Let's see. I
Why
said,
not? Why not end the episode by, you know what, saying what you were gonna say and like doing that too?
well, let's see. It's just the wrong day, but
I mean,
I'll do
you
it
can open it
twice.
tomorrow too, but like
Yeah,
still,
yeah, I'll do
I'm
it
just saying. I
twice.
wanted to be here for it.
Oh, all right. Well, this guy, Uncle Thelzar, I think he recently lost his father, and it was um, something. I believe he's in Horde actually, and I think other people have lost parents too. But it looks like Horde did some fireworks in celebration, and it's just um, normally I don't really talk about real life because we're gonna lose people in this game, right? It's just gonna happen. It's a cyber universe, which means there's a person behind that, and people from all over the world. There's a lot of people that play this game, and they come and go, and we've seen a lot of them go. And then people that we know in this game, they lose relatives, like this guy, Uncle Filzer, lost his father, and it's just heartbreaking, right? It's one of the worst pains you can go through and stuff. So it's nice to see when people get support from their Eve friends. And I'm not going to go into the bullshit about Eve has the best community and all that, because sure it does. But
Oh, Eve has what? You like cut out there.
the best community and all this other stuff. And
You're not going to go into it, but does it?
well, I'm not going to go into it,
I
but
know,
it's nice to
but
see.
it does, right?
Yeah, but it does. It's nice to see when people find humanity in themselves, find the humanity in themselves to celebrate with somebody else, like they do here. It's a simple gesture of setting off fireworks, but it does help. And the memorial that CCP did for people was great too. And just not really good at doing this kind of a sermon, but I feel this someone's pain that shares Eve Online with us and that sort of stuff. So to him, salute him in the passing of his father, and I'm touched by their closeness, and it's just a terrible pain. I wish people didn't have to go through that part of life, but if you've been through it, you know what I mean. It hits you at the core, and it completely shakes you. So it's a brutal place to be. So it's nice that people can help each other out at that time, I think.
All right.
I don't really know.
Since you're really bad at sermons and things like that, let me just say, number one, Eve Online has the best player community for dealing with other players who are going through the things that all of us go through all the time, whether it be lost loved ones or any of that kind of stuff. But certainly, lost loved ones, we step the fuck up and we sit there and say, yes, you know what? We're with you right now. Okay. And granted, it's really cheap to sit there and say we're with you, but know that those people in Eve Online are literally thinking about you. The ones who are here right now in Twitch chat, in the podcast, whatever, they are thinking about you right now. Every one of them, because they are the few who are actually listening to begin with. All right. And believe me, they've gone through it as well. I want to lay one more out there tonight. Rix Javix lost his mom today. He's been going through this for the course of, I think it was the last week or so, week and a half. Okay. His mom died today. And I want to give a shout out to Rix and his family. Listen to me, people. 2020 keeps reaching in. Okay. And 2021 is looking like it's shaping up to be no better. But
it's the
Eve Online as a community, you guys are literally the best. Always the goddamn best. Because we are not a game that lives and dies, no pun intended, okay? By like instant games or like, who you are just in chat. It's because we run across you because it's a goddamn world. They built something here, CCP I'm talking about. They built something that people are a part of. A very few people are a part of. And we get to know each other over time. And when we hear that you've lost somebody, it means something to all of us because eventually we all lose people.
Well said, Dirk. Well said. Should
No,
have.
I just said it with a better voice. It's like honestly,
No.
you said it in your own way, but like
Yeah,
it's like don't think you can't. Like you just gotta like up your freaking like presentation game.
too uncomfortable, but you did a great job. And so again, our best goes out to Rick's, but also to the guy that gave me these fireworks for his dad that we're looking at now, Uncle Thelzer. And he's a fan of the show, and I think he belongs to Horde, and it's nice. By the way, along these lines, I just saw a good movie called The Dig. If you haven't seen The Dig on, I believe it's Netflix, it deals with this sort of thing, and it's kind of a nice little movie to watch about.
It deals with death in like pre
No,
World War II video
no,
game world.
it deals with connection, like connection to the past and that sort of thing. So, and that's a part of life and death and
See,
stuff.
and now you're screwing me up because somebody like I saw on Twitter yesterday who's from EVE Online is like, "Fuck The Dig! I can't believe it sucked."
Well, whatever. Can't please everybody. But connection to the past, the reverence for history, but also the continuum of life and belonging to it is a lot of the themes that happen in great little movie. I think it's a great little movie.
Let me also just say this. Guess what? It's been a long time since we EVE players have been like back together again. It's been a while now. It's coming up on more than a year, actually. I think it's more than a year at this point since EVE player meets have happened and things like that. And I'm not saying it's going to get better this year. Honestly, I think you got to write, just like I said, probably a month from now, last year, so 11 months ago, you got to write this year off for that kind of thing. But guess what? There are ways that we can all keep together. There are ways just like this right here. And Matterall has done a great job of this because he upped his goddamn game to every night of freaking week and all that kind of stuff.
What are we doing?
Guess what? I know. Hold on.
Go ahead.
Sometimes I actually ask you, what are you doing? But there are nights like tonight when I sit there and go, this is what you're doing, dude. You've built a community. You've built a community of players. And that is what is like really legitimately important. Not like drinking at a cabana, which is also fun. I'm not gonna lie.
Very, very
Okay.
important.
But okay, like you've built a community of like what people do. It's like they just hang out. And honestly, this was the greatest year of just hanging out online ever. Like honestly, if you didn't hang out online before this year, you had to have like
we practiced
this past year.
Yeah. Well, listen, thank you. And the reason this is all acceptable right now, normally this is too self-referential, is tomorrow is my birthday. So I'm considering
Shut up, dude. I'm not
coming.
I am coming back tomorrow just because it's your birthday.
I was considering this my birthday present from you. All right.
I didn't even know. I just did it because we're friends, right, Matterall?
That's right.
Damn.
All right, thanks.
I never said that with an online person before. I feel dirty.
Yeah. Wait till you wake up after the stream. You'll be like, oh, I can't believe I said that. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging around. Dirk, always a pleasure. I like talking to you. It makes the game, it makes this a lot funner, like 50% more fun. We will talk again tomorrow. I think as probably we expect some more information on Guardians Gala. We'll have Astrathian here to explain some of that stuff. And
I swear to God, dude, If Astralthi rolls in here tomorrow for an entire show saying how to fit your Gila, I'm gonna shit myself.
Yeah, tomorrow's my birthday. It's true. So I'm going to spend it with you guys if I come back tomorrow and do this stream. And I appreciate you guys hanging out. Thanks for the kudos. I'm sorry we took longer than usual. I did have some internet problems there. But this was a good long show, and I thought it was a lot of fun. So I hope you guys did too. Yeah, thanks. All right, let's see if we can find somebody to raid. How about New Eden Posts for, it's probably Tuesday, Trash Talk Tuesday. I think it probably started an hour ago. Okay, well, here you go. Catch up to what they're doing. Or wait a minute. Well, yeah, we'll raid them.
Dude, you can't say you're gonna do it and then
I know.
not do it.
I know. That's why I stopped. But here we go. It should. Oh, good. The raid system's working again. It used to not work. Oh, yeah. And, well, here you go, guys. I mean, a lot of people are probably already over there.